The new character Jelena recently got introduced in Attack on Titan. Question is Jelena an ally, enemy, or something else entirely? So what's up guys, Foxen here. Today you're going to be getting an in-depth look at Jelena, also known as that tall blonde chick that has a thing for the thick Beast Titan, and a worshipper at the altar of Zeke Jaeger. The question is, can Eren and the Survey Corps really trust this person with those shady eyes? Let's go ahead and get started. What's interesting to notice about this Beast Titan faller is that she's not too new of a character in Attack on Titan. Jelena actually appeared before Attack on Titan turned 100, in chapter 99. This really means that Jelena has been around for over half a year for you now. Here, Jelena was playing the role of the Marley soldier. Her mission was to prevent any Titan interferences from the Jaws and Cartman Titan. Unfortunately for Jelena, and possibly Zeke, Pieck proved to be too clever. Pieck noticed right away that something was fishy after being separated from Zeke. Jelena just taken the route that put them next to Pieck's tank unit. Unfortunately, that was a miscalculation. And the rest is Titan history. So about this miscalculation, is Jelena to blame for this? Ultimately, Jaws and Pieck escaped, which caused the Warhammer battle to escalate. However, did Jelena's mistake actually provide an opportunity for Eren to smash the Warhammer, and ultimately steal the Warhammer Titan's power? Or did this ever only cause more Survey Corps members to get unnecessarily killed? If you think about it, perhaps Potato Girl Sasha would have still been alive if only those two Titan shifters didn't draw out the Warhammer battle longer with Eren. I'll come back to Jelena's so-called miscalculation. Let's take a look at Jelena's official introduction via flashback in the latest Attack on Titan chapter. There's a whole lot of things worth noting here. First off, this Jelena panel is drawn or shown from below. Really seems like Isayama did this on purpose, just to make Jelena appear bigger than she is, and hence grander. Notably, Isayama also had the Survey Corps explicitly mention the fact that she's huge. This could just be a random trait by Isayama, although I'm doubting it. This feature of Jelena is once again highlighted when Isayama included this shot of her next to Levi. I wonder how Levi feels about the difference. Right here, it almost seems like Jelena's interested. Do I smell a possible Levi and Jelena team up coming? Maybe that's way too far ahead. Either way, this does give you some reference. Compare this to Levi's official height. Jelena is easily over 6 feet tall. So, is this a random trait done by Isayama? Perhaps. It is interesting to wonder about whether her stature helped her improve her military ranking, or perhaps aid her in becoming this leader figure within this Anti Marley group. Admittedly, info on both of these is currently unknown. Although do notice that Isayama so far has portrayed Jelena as taking charge, almost as the leader figure here. Jelena has been shown speaking the most, and in most of the shots she's drawn higher up than her buddy here. There's actually another important trait of Jelena that I want to touch on. But first, let's talk about Jelena's miscalculation during the Warhammer battle back at Marley. How did this even happen? There's a few explanations for this. First off, perhaps Jelena messed up due to just being incompetent. Although perhaps it was simply bad timing or bad luck. That does go down some other possibilities, but I think this is more interesting. How about if Jelena's screw up was on purpose? If this is true, the question then becomes, was it part of Zeke's plan? Or was it of Jelena's own doing? Let's take a look at the Titan and the whole plan at face value. The Titan shifters escaping later could have easily been prevented, or at least stalled. Recall that both food and the porta potty were left for Pieck and Porco. So at least it tells you that Zeke cared about these two, and perhaps even wanted them spared. This just means that there is a possibility that Zeke was not involved. This goes back to either bad timing for Jelena, or was Jelena hoping for something like this to happen? I mean, think about it. Jelena would have had plenty of time to scout the area beforehand, and therefore avoid Pieck's tank buddies. So Jelena, deep down inside, are you feeling happy right now? Looking back at the latest Attack on Titan chapter, some of the interactions here involving Jelena actually give you more into what makes her tick. Perhaps a smaller detail is how Jelena chooses to speak almost entirely formally when having her conversation with Hange and Levi. This shows at least some hint of respect here to Eldians, whether that's genuine or otherwise. Compare this to Jelena speaking post-time skip. In the scene of Jelena taking the fault for letting the two Titans escape, there's a difference here. Her literal dialogue is pretty casual, almost as if saying, "My bad, I messed up." The point being, it doesn't really feel like a heartfelt apology, or just being super casual about the situation. Like, yeah, my bad, I forgot to take out the trash. Same thing. Whereas, it seems that Jelena from years back would have gone with at least the standard formality here. At this point, 3 or so years should have passed by. So how did Yelena's relationship with the Survey Corps change? Did they become super buddies, or the complete opposite? One important scene featuring Jelena is the one where Mr. Onya is talking about this god figure. Of course, Jelena herself has no lines during this, but perhaps his lack of anything from her speaks even louder. Notably, Isayama gives you this shot. On the right, Jelena not looking too happy. Contrast Yelena's expression to the one of Armin. Armin is so young here, full of curiosity and wonder. It's clear that Isayama put the shot together to show you this mindset of Armin versus Jelena. It was totally on purpose. In the future, I could perhaps see Yelena's motivation and mindset ultimately clash with Armin's. You'll see what I mean. Keeping Yelena's expression in mind here, think back to the moment where she mentioned their goal. Jelena claims that she wants freedom for the Eldian people, presumably following Zeke. Pretty interesting, but why? Why specifically Eldians? How about the rest of their group? Does she think that freeing the Eldians ultimately means freedom for their people too? Jelena also has a special moment of a fond memory thinking back to the Beast Titan. Zeke here isn't a so-called devil, but a god to her. So a divine being that gives her powerless people hope. Now, think back to the scene of her speechless when someone else is talking about a different god figure. Could Jelena perhaps reject this belief? In other words, could Jelena not necessarily think of Zeke's beast as a god, but perhaps treasure the Eldian Titan curse instead? This is really going back to the idea that all Titan shifters themselves represent divine figures on Earth. Ultimately, you could argue that Jelena is more instead a follower of Ymir, the original Ymir. But anyway, going back to what you know about Jelena, I focus on Yelena's key trait about being tall. However, there's another noteworthy thing about her. It really all comes down to Yelena's eyes. As Jelena is recalling back to her first hot encounter with the Beast Titan, notice here that Jelena keeps one of her eyes closed. Why do that, Jelena? I was thinking that perhaps this was another random thing thrown in by Isayama. Except, she's actually done this before. In the previous chapter when Jelena takes the blame for her screw-up about the Titans escaping, she does this while keeping one eye shut. Why? In the recent flashback, Jelena does this while thinking back to Zeke's Beast Titan, this representing this godlike figure to her, Zeke. But it's also an overall fond memory embodying hope. Now take this and apply this to the moment where she makes the mistake. In both of these times, Jelena's thinking back to past events while closing one single eye. So, could this past failure be linked to what the almighty Zeke commanded? Or could Jelena be thinking back to what happened and just thinking, all according to plan? Guess we'll see what happens. Definitely keep track of when Jelena does it again. But wait, there's more. More about Jelena's eyes. Jelena was presented as this character with completely black eyes, except that there are a couple of times when they're not. The first is the scene where Jelena is amazed after finding out about the Titans being wiped out. The second is in her flashback of her thinking back to the Beast Titan. I think this helps to uncover some genuine reactions of her. Could both the Eldian people and the Beast represent hope to her? Which really gives support to the theory of her being fond of the Eldians and Titans in general. Alright, so let's put all of this together and time for an Attack on Titan theory. It seems like Isayama's playing crafty here. He introduced this character that already messed up big time. So far he's portrayed this character as being abnormally huge, and not necessarily having this trusting appearance. Just to spice things up, he made this character a female. Back to the original question. Is Jelena an ally or secretly an enemy? I actually don't think it's that simple. Isayama wouldn't want that. I see Jelena going ahead and continuing what she thinks is right in her eyes. Perhaps she'll fall to becoming this sacrificial pawn to the Beast Titan. That'll be whether or not Zeke actually has this alternative plan going on. Based on what Jelena hopes to accomplish, she'll either become a true ally or a true enemy for the Survey Corps, Marley, or Zeke. If you go with the idea of Jelena being reduced to this character who's 100% going to help out the Survey Corps, continue to fight against Marley, only to eventually be discarded by Zeke, seems a little too simple. My prediction is that Isayama has huge plans for her, especially now with the loss of one major character. So, what is Jelena up to? I'm predicting that Jelena has her own secret agenda. Jelena won't just be a blind follower to the Beast. She'll either end up trying to use Zeke, or only continue following Zeke until some other Titan shifter tickles her fancy. Could that perhaps be Eren and his beefy Attack Titan? That's right, Jelena could end up being Eren's new best blonde buddy. Really curious to see how Mikasa feels about that. But anyway, that's an Attack on Titan theory. More important, let me hear from you. Question of the day. Do you think Jelena is really an ally or an enemy? Do you think Jelena is blindly following Zeke, or is she secretly planning something in the background? Anyway, definitely give us a colossal thumbs up and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more in-depth videos like this one. These type of videos take a lot more time, so definitely let me know with a comment and hitting that like button. By the way, Attack on Titan Season 3 starts in just 3 weeks now. Be sure to click that bell icon so you don't miss future videos, and I'll see you guys later.